How are the iPod, United Airlines, a postage stamp, Stanley Kubrick, and more all connected? On October 23, 2001, Steve Jobs walked out onto a stage in Cupertino, California, and introduced the world to the iPod. While other MP3 devices existed before it, the iPod would go on to overtake the market and forever change how we listen to music. While developing iPod OS, Apple revived the original Macintosh typeface used between 1984 and 1997 and designed by Susan Kare. At the time of development, Apple used World Cities as a font naming convention, and Kare's font was called Chicago. The font would remain in the iPod OS until 2004, when it was switched to SB Sans with the release of iPod Mini. In 2007, just 6 years after the initial release, Apple announced the sale of their 100 millionth iPod, and the company now held over 70% of MP3 market share. With the success and ubiquity of iPods in consumers' hands, Apple entered into a new partnership with several major airlines to begin adding iPod connections to airplane seats, allowing passengers to listen to music and view saved content on in-flight displays, as well as charge their device. First and business class passengers flying these airlines could now plug their iPods into the seat via USB to use the new perks. While other airlines were rumored to be among the deal, it's no surprise United was among those chosen for the initial rollout, as Apple likely wanted to make this feature available to their own iPod-carrying employees. United has long served as Apple's airline for employees flying from its California headquarters to and from visiting Apple's manufacturing facilities in Shanghai, as well as other destinations. In 2019, United upset Apple by making public the $150 million figure Apple spends each year sending its employees around the globe. In 2013, with the USB connections in planes now becoming a mainstay, United Airlines solidified an $8.5 billion merger with Continental Airlines. While the merger saw the near total erasure of the Continental brand over the next 2 years, their logo, interestingly enough, remained alongside the United Airlines name. This decision brought an end to the nearly 4-decade-long use of United's iconic tulip logo, designed by American designer and filmmaker Saul Bass in 1973. Bass, ironically enough, had also designed the logo previously used by Continental from 1967 to 1991, when they switched to the globe. Bass was behind many iconic logos of his era and also has one of the coolest signatures you'll ever see. Outside of logos, he collaborated with filmmakers including Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick, and Martin Scorsese, for whom Bass created beautiful and unique title sequences. His work in this realm was incredibly influential, and its legacy can still be seen today in the compelling title sequences of your favorite movies and TV shows. While Bass worked on many films and logos, he only ever designed one postage stamp. Released in 1983 entitled Science and Industry, the 20-cent stamp was commissioned to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Museum of Science and Industry, located in Chicago and just 15 minutes south of United Airlines headquarters. The museum was established in 1933 and fills the Palace of Fine Arts, built for the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. Among its popular and permanent exhibits is a full-size replica coal mine in which visitors ride a mine train and learn about different aspects of the job, as well as tours of German submarine U-505, which is one of just 6 German submarines captured by the Allies during World War II. The museum also features an exhibit sponsored by United Airlines titled Take Flight, showcasing the first commercially used Boeing 727 jet. However, this plane, being from 1964, does not feature Bass's 1973 tulip logo, nor does it have USB iPod connections on the seats. Beyond the permanent exhibits, the museum hosts temporary exhibits that fill the museum for a shorter period of time. In 2018, the museum housed the Science Behind Pixar exhibit, providing an educational look at how the innovative animation studio uses science and technology to create incredible works of artistry and storytelling. The exhibit physically walks visitors through the Pixar animation process to interactively learn about key steps. Also in the exhibit are several large-scale models of famous Pixar characters for guests to see and take photos with, one of which is Wall-E from the 2008 film by the same name, and with a credits sequence certainly influenced by Saul Bass's work. As Pixar was nearing the completion of its first feature film, Toy Story, in 1994, a group of writers and directors held a lunch to brainstorm ideas for the studio's next project. It was at this lunch that the next 3 original Pixar films were conceived. A fourth idea, pitched by Andrew Stanton, would be put on hold for much longer. Over the next 2 decades, Stanton and his peers would continue to toil with the story and monitor the technological progress of the studio that was needed to pull off this film. WALL-E was finally released in 2008 and won that year's Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. During its development, Pixar writers and animators did extensive research and gathered inspiration for all aspects of the film. While designing Eve, the sleek and futuristic robot WALL-E falls in love with, Stanton asked Apple designer Johnny Ive to look at the character model with which Ive was impressed. As an homage to this and Apple in general, who shared a CEO with Pixar in Steve Jobs, WALL-E can be seen watching Hello Dolly on an iPod in the film's opening sequence. While in development, Apple hired a team of copywriters to name the device internally called P68. Among this team was Vinny Chico, who, after seeing the prototype, was reminded of the 1968 sci-fi film 2001: A Space Odyssey, for whom Kubrick hired Saul Bass to do initial poster design work for, but was not used in the final publicity, and which Pixar also studied and referenced heavily while creating WALL-E. But it wasn't the poster that Chico was reminded of, it was the famous quote,
"Open the pod bay doors, Hal."
Chico saw a similarity between the spaceship and smaller pod bay doors to that of the Mac computer and smaller MP3 device, leading him to come up with the name iPod. Hey, thanks so much for watching. One thing I found while researching that I couldn't fit into the video is that the Museum of Science and Industry received its largest donation ever of $125 million in 2019 from Kenneth C. Griffin. Griffin is the majority owner of Citadel Securities, the largest market maker in the US that pays for Robinhood's order flow. He was right in the middle of the whole GameStop Robinhood saga and has testified about it in Congress.
Meme stocks.
And now, because of his donation, the Museum of Science and Industry will be renamed after him. Again, thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, there's a lot more fun stuff to come. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it.